Fellow procrastinators, Sam here, and today I want to tell you guys what I think is going to happen in 2024 regarding Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, this is just my predictions, this isn't confirmation, this is simply my thoughts of what's going to happen in 2024, and at the end of the year we could look back at this video and see what I got right and what I got wrong. Now, I do want to point out, I did do this video already with Chalmix and Fidel. It's a podcast, it's about 2 hours long, I believe, so if you guys want to watch all of our thoughts regarding Sonic the Hedgehog this year and our details, that video is out there. But I wanted to make this video for something that's a bit more condensed and something that you guys will know straight away what my thoughts are going into 2024 regarding Sonic the Hedgehog. But before we jump right into this year, we got to talk about last year. 2023 was absolutely insane for all things Sonic the Hedgehog. The games, the media, everyone was eating. And that was just not expected at all, because 2022 was the year that we already had Sonic Origins and Sonic Frontiers came out. And I really didn't expect a whole lot in 2023. I thought it was going to be kind of a meh year, but boy was I wrong. First, we had Sonic Origins Plus. I think where it is right now, by the way, it's a pretty decent collection. I'm sure it's on sale now. I know when it released, it was rough. Sonic Origins, when it originally released, was rough. But Sonic Origins Plus, I think where it is right now, I think it's a decent collection. If you want to play Sonic, classic Sonic games on the go, I think, you know, it's a good way to do it. Sonic Frontiers DLC. We had 3 of those throughout the year, and those were a ton of fun to go over with you guys. And I think in the end, especially when you add up all 3 DLCs, they added a lot of content to the game and a good amount of quality of life changes, including the recent fix they did for Update 3. Overall, is pretty dang good, all things considered. I did hear a lot of your guys' criticisms towards, you know, the characters being OP. And while I still think a little bit is true, I actually kind of agree with you guys. I think you guys kind of changed my mind a little bit as to why they made that decision, and I'm kind of leaning into agree with you guys that I think what they did overall is actually a good thing, because in the end, now that I think about it, I guess I didn't really fight a whole lot of enemies with the characters. So, Sonic Frontiers DLCs was great. It was fantastic. It added a whole lot to the game, a lot of necessary things, and a lot of fun things that I think will aid Sonic into the future. And that's also why I want to talk about these games in 2023, because I think everything in this list I'm talking about is going to help us give us an idea of what's coming this year. Next, we have the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. This one was a fun treat. This was made by passionate fans working with the officials to make this murder mystery game. It was a ton of fun, especially to go through it with my friends, have everyone voice the characters, me doing Vector, and you know, going crazy. It was a lot of fun. Maybe next birthday, we just ask Vanilla to make dinner. Oh, Vanilla! Oh, fuck yeah! You don't love parties! We're being... and we had Sonic Superstars. This was a surprise as well. I did not expect us to have a 2D Sonic game this year. We just didn't expect it coming from an outside studio that's not internal from Sega. But this was so far, overall it was a W. I do have my concerns with the game. I did make a review for that as well. In fact, I made a review for everything. But yeah, the Sonic Superstars, overall, I think it was a W. And I'll have more to say about this going into 2024. But yeah, Sonic Superstars overall was a W, and Sonic Dream Team, which I just made a review as with that as well. Sonic Dream Team was great. Was a lot of fun, and again, another surprise. Didn't expect that, but it came out, and again, we just had so many Sonic games, and that's not covering media, because we also had Sonic Prime in 2023, and that show was pretty dang good overall. Now, I do think the writing can get a bit cheesy at times, but overall, I think the show is pretty dang good for what it is. But alright, that was 2023 with the Sonic games and Sonic Prime. The reason why I wanted to talk about 2023 is because I believe going back and looking at everything we had in 2023 will help us aid into what is going to be coming out this year. And with that said, let's go into my predictions for this year, starting with the games. Now, I don't know if this is going to be a bit bold for me to say, but I think we might see Sonic Superstars DLC. I think Sega would be crazy not to do this. That game, of all the games, needs some downloadable content. That game needs some fixes bad. Let's go over that. So let's look at their history. We had Sonic Origins and we had Sonic Origins Plus. We had Sonic Mania before and Sonic Mania Plus. I believe, you know, sticking true with 2D classic Sonic tradition, it's probably going to see a plus of some kind. I would not be surprised if that's something RSS has been working on. The game definitely needs it, and it definitely needs some fixes along with it, and I don't think the fixes should be tied with a plus DLC, but I'm sure knowing Sega's habits, they probably will not a fan of it. I'm just saying that's their habits. But yeah, number one thing, it needs some bug fixes. Big time. There's a lot of glitches I experienced, drowning above water, boss cameras freaking out, the co-op quite literally being unplayable at times, soft locks, and it could use some quality of life changes too. Some boss encounters could definitely be lowered down a bit. Just the bosses in general. A lot of the game's bosses are kind of a drag for the game. So that game could definitely improve a lot from a DLC or a plus of some kind. And I'm sure Sega knows that. I'm sure they'll know that that game could definitely breathe some new fresh air if they did that. And I actually really hope they do that, because that game has a lot of potential, but I feel like it wasn't fully realized. And speaking of not being fully realized, the online component of Sonic Superstars. I could see what Sega's trying to do here. They're trying to make an online multiplayer version of classic 2D Sonic with fun maps. You get to have races, you have that zap mode, all that stuff. I think that's a great idea, but there wasn't nearly enough to satisfy everyone's appetite for that. It wasn't enough to buy everyone in on that idea, because a lot of the games, like collecting the stars and the zap, I didn't really like. I think the racing component is the most fun, and they should really focus on that and have more game modes regarding races and more maps. I think that will make that whole online portion of the game really boom into something that I think could be quite big if they do a good enough job. Not to mention the store where you get to customize your own character. Again, even for Sonic Forces, as much as I didn't like that game, I like the custom character creation, and fans like making their own character. So I think it would be a good idea for them to really hone in on that and to improve it. The prices of the character creation, I think, are just way too much of the coins. They want you to grind that game way too much for how it's designed. It's not designed to grind a whole lot, especially with the bosses being such a drag in the game. That game can be a chore to grind those coins. So they need to lower down the prices in the store to customize your character, and I think they need to improve that system. Add more maps, add more customizable character options, add quality of life changes to the online service in general, because even at times the online can be a bit hairy. What's the next thing regarding games for Sonic in 2024? I think it's going to be another mobile game or something to do with mobile games. It could be an expansion to Dream Team for all I know. But Sega did mention recently that they plan on having more Sonic games, mobile Sonic games come out very soon. And they even mentioned it regarding, I think, Rovio, the company they bought for almost $1 billion, the company that created Angry Birds. And again, if they bought that company, they're going to have to utilize that company. And they didn't utilize that company yet, because Sonic Dream Team was made by Sega Hardlight. So I think we're going to be seeing something from Rovio soon. Probably not on the scale of Sonic Dream Team. It's probably going to be a smaller mobile game, something more traditional in terms of Sonic mobile games, which I'm not against. I think Sonic games do great on mobile. I think it'd be great for them to hone in on that market. It'd be great to see what Rovio can do with Sonic. And I'm sure Sega's going to want them to capitalize on that, and they got to make their money back after that purchase. So I believe we're going to see something regarding more mobile Sonic games this year as well. But all right, the big one that the biggest prediction that I know a lot of people are talking about, and this is one that this is my thoughts here, and I said it before, I'll say it again. I believe this year, regarding a mainline Sonic game, I think we're going to see something regarding Shadow the Hedgehog. It only makes sense. Now, hear me out. It's not because of Zippo. I just want to make that clear right away. I know there's this leak going around with the Zippo stuff. I don't listen to what Zippo has to say. I don't care what Zippo has to say. The reason I believe this, and I was saying it before Zippo, is because clearly the Sonic movie 3 is coming out. Sega almost never capitalizes on these movies regarding a game tie-in. I think with the first movie, it was Team Sonic Racing that they were kind of advertising alongside with it. With Sonic Movie 2, I believe it was Sonic Colors Ultimate. They never had a mainline Sonic game tied in with the movie. Not necessarily tied in terms of story, but tied in terms of marketing. And I feel like since this is the third movie, this is most likely the last Sonic movie we're going to see, at least in that universe, they got to do it now. They got to capitalize on that momentum, and I think they are. This only makes sense for them to do it, especially considering Shadow's in the movie. Shadow's a huge, popular, one of the most popular Sonic characters ever, probably the most popular Sonic character ever. And I think the proof is also in the pudding. I don't think the entirety of Sonic Team was working on the Frontiers DLCs. There's no way. The Frontiers DLCs, for all things considered, were pretty minuscule when it comes to development. A lot of them, like I mentioned in my reviews, they use a lot of those reusable assets, a lot of mini game modes, nothing real significant up until Update 3, where they had the new bosses, but everything leading up to Update 3, other than the character movements and all that stuff again, was a lot of reusable assets. Even the cyberspace stages, a lot of them were remakes from the original game using reusable assets. I don't think that update showcases the true power of a full team development cycle. I believe Sonic Frontiers DLC throughout the course of 2023 was made by a smaller portion of Sonic team, while the other half was probably working on something big. In fact, Kishimoto literally confirmed this with Update 3, that fix they did recently. He literally said only 3 people, 3, worked on the hotfix that just came out for Sonic Frontiers Update 3. So I'm not saying for all of the updates that was only 3 people, but only 3 people worked on that hotfix, which is an insanely small number of people to work on such a massive game. So I think right there is proof that clearly the rest of the team is doing something major. It's all hands on deck for some other project, while they just allocated a small sliver to work on that. And I'm sure throughout all of the development for Sonic Frontiers DLCs in 2023, I believe it was a smaller portion of the team. Again, the proof is in the pudding. But the proof is also coming from Iizuka. I don't know why no one talked about this. I've mentioned this in the podcast, and I've mentioned this for a while now, but no one really seemed to talk about it, and I guess I'll talk about it now. Iizuka kind of alluded to this in interviews for Sonic Superstars, where an interviewer asked him regarding Shadow the Hedgehog being in Sonic Superstars, and of course, as Sonic fans, we know, of course he's not going to be in Superstars. It's a classic Sonic game. But Iizuka did allude to Shadow fans not having to wait too long, that the team is well aware of how popular Shadow is, and that they do want to do something with Shadow in the future. It just makes sense. It just makes sense. If I was the head of Sonic team, that's where my brain would be. Let's line up something with the Sonic movie. Let's do something with Sonic and Shadow. It only makes sense. Now let's go into this game itself. What would this game look like in my opinion? Well, first off, I think it only makes sense for them to be able to reuse the Sonic Frontiers gameplay formula that they already established. There's no way they're going to throw out this formula already. They worked so hard on this open world formula. I believe they're going to probably use it again, and that's probably what aids them into making this game so quickly. Not only with the fact that the team bought them time with the Frontiers DLCs, but I also think that being able to just reuse the game engine they already created allows them to go right into development right away, creating levels with said thing in mind. And not to mention too, with the DLCs, I feel like they could really utilize the spin dash this time into the level design and make something really fun. Now, do I think this game is going to be open world? I don't really imagine that if that was the case. If it was a thing, if it was my guess, I believe this open world thing for Sonic would probably happen once every couple of games. Well, there'd be more traditional 3D Sonic platformers in between. My hope is that we'll see something of a mix, kind of like Sonic Dream Team, where they had open areas in the world, but the levels were still kind of going from A to B. But I think that'd be a great idea for them to utilize the new gameplay stuff established in Frontiers, utilize maybe even the spin dash that Frontiers didn't really get to utilize. I just want the gameplay to be fun. I think as long as there's a lot of fun to be had in the world, the level design, but I genuinely wouldn't mind them being more traditional this time. I wouldn't mind the return of maybe gun. Not guns in general, but the military type stuff in the game. I wouldn't mind that at all, and I think it'd be kind of fun to see them return, especially if they're returning in Sonic Movie 3. I would love to see them return here. So yeah, I think it would just be a lot of fun. There's a lot of potential for a game like that. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about a potential Shadow the Hedgehog / Sonic the Hedgehog duo game. Would you guys like the idea of that? What would you guys want there to be in a game like that? Let me know. And I also think this game makes sense because if you remember in Frontiers, the end of Frontiers, all of Sonic's friends, like Knuckles, Tails, Amy, they all talk about going their own separate ways, kind of doing their own thing for a while. I think it gives time to Sonic and Shadow to do their own thing while the other characters... Now, that's not to say I don't want the other characters in this game. I wouldn't mind it, but I also wouldn't mind if it's just focused on Sonic and Shadow. I think it would be a great idea if if that was the case, for them to really talk about maybe more about Shadow's backstory, maybe trying to give us closure for things that we didn't really get closure for before, that I know SA2, Heroes, and even Shadow the Hedgehog probably didn't do a great job of writing. I would like to see them kind of close that gap, and I think Ian Flynn's writing regarding Frontiers could do a good job at that as well. So again, I think it's a great idea. But yeah, that's my game predictions for 2024. Sonic Superstars DLC, new mobile games, and a Shadow the Hedgehog or Sonic the Hedgehog type game to tie in with Sonic Movie 3, because of course it only makes sense. Now, regarding stuff outside of the games, let's talk about media. And I'm talking Sonic Prime, the Knuckles TV show, and Sonic Movie 3. Now, we know Sonic Prime Season 3 is coming. That was already confirmed. We'll see what happens after Sonic Prime Season 3, if it will continue on. I don't really know how successful Sonic Prime has been. I genuinely don't know. I'm sure it's done pretty well, all things considered. But yeah, Sonic Prime Season 3, we'll see how the finale is, and maybe when that ends, I will give my roundup, my overall thoughts of Sonic Prime entirely once that comes out. Let me know if you guys down below if you guys want me to do that. And then we have the Knuckles TV show. Now, this is something that it was supposed to happen in 2023, but I'm actually happy was delayed, because there was just so much Sonic stuff in 2023. I feel like it just would have been hard to keep track of everything. So the Knuckles TV show coming this year to coincide with the movie, I think is actually better. But yeah, we haven't heard too much about the show, but we did hear the synopsis of the show. And for those that don't know, I believe it's Knuckles teaming up with Tom from the movies. I really don't know what to think about that. I don't hate Tom. He's an extra. He's kind of the comic relief in the movies, but I would have liked the Chaotix more so than more human characters. I feel like when you add a human character with the CGI character, I feel like the show becomes more grounded, and there's not a whole lot they could do. I wish it was the Chaotix. So the synopsis of the show already kind of has me a little worried, but it could still be funny. I think it could still be enjoyable. So we'll see how that goes. And again, I will cover it once it comes out. And of course, we have Sonic Movie 3 itself. And you guys already know I'm going to be super excited for that movie. I've been so hyped about the Sonic movie since the first trailer after the redesign. I cannot believe how long it's been since 2019 where all that stuff happened, and the first movie come out in 2020. I just can't believe that's been that long already. I think the first Sonic movie was a great starting point, a great foundation. And of course it was, and Sonic Movie 2 was proof of that. Sonic Movie 2 was so much better. I loved Sonic Movie 2. It was a ton of fun. Going to the premiere, being invited to the blue carpet was, again, a huge treat of mine. I loved going there. It was a ton of fun. I'm still so thankful for that. And I really hope for Sonic Movie 3 I get to do something like that again. So, hey, Paramount, call me. But outside of all that, we also have the Sonic Symphony. That is also going into this year. We have tour dates all the way throughout this year. That's great. I love the Symphony. It was a ton of fun. Again, it was a huge honor to be able to help out the team on that regard. It was a ton of fun. I talked about it in tandem already, so I'm not going to go over all that again. But yeah, the Symphony going on to this year, it's great. They added new tour dates recently, so we'll see if they had even more dates in mind. I know Shota also tweeted recently asking the community what you guys want to see added to the set list. So they'll probably see some changes made to the set list into 2024, which is going to be super fun. I can't wait to see what they add, and I can't wait to see if I get to work on even more stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. But alrighty, that is everything I covered last year. I covered this year in my predictions, and now I want to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think is going to come out in 2024 regarding Sonic the Hedgehog, whether that be the games or media or in-person stuff? Let me know. I am super excited for this year, not only for Sonic the Hedgehog, but also for this channel as well. I'm going to be making a ton of content for Sonic fans. I am going to be going all out. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to really focus on content. I'm going to focus on streams. I'm going to focus on community. It's going to be great. And I also want to thank you guys for your responses to my last video, my update video. If you guys didn't see the update video, I recommend you guys watch it. But I appreciate you hearing your guys' thoughts, and I'm definitely going to be taking that feedback and incorporating it this year. So with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, hit the bell if you guys want to know when I upload. With all that said, this is Sam signing out. See you later, procrastinators.